This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
I'm going to call the meeting of the Manhan Rail Trail Committee, Monday, July 20th to order. Why don't we start right to get the minutes out of the way? I emailed sorry, let me just get that down. Okay. Oh, it's Liz, yeah. Emailed the minutes to everybody. Does anybody have any corrections or comments? Or anything to say about the minutes? Come in. Yep, you got the right place. You can have the seat of honor.
Oh, man.
All right, so do I have a motion to accept the minutes of the June 22nd, 2026 meeting? Second, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstain? Okay, minutes. Okay, perfect timing. So the first item on our agenda is something that Emma from you work with the police department, right?
I do. I'm the social worker with the police department. And I'm on our DART team. Are you guys familiar with DART? It's the drug addiction recovery team. So most, good?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, cool. Most police departments in Massachusetts have a DART team where we respond to calls in the community whenever there's a substance use involved or substance involved. In Easthampton, we do it a police officer and a social worker because we found that that's beneficial. You can kind of touch on more things. In any case, we had a meeting recently, and at that meeting, the team thought that it might be beneficial to have more Nalox boxes on the bike path. You guys familiar with Nalox boxes? Okay, great.
We have them right down here on the across from my old office.
There are maybe like 8 of them in town that the DART team and the health department monitor to make sure that there's Narcan. Like I know the library, the schools, River Valley Co-op, Sevens Bar and Grill, Seven, whatever, the Sevens. So we know that there are a decent number of people in the community that use the bike path, and I think they might be more inclined to take Narcan from a Nalox box on the bike path than perhaps at a business. And I know Westfield just installed Nalox boxes on their bike path. DART is a partnership with Hampshire Hope in Northampton, which is run out of their Department of Health and Human Services, and they supply the Nalox boxes and they help install them, and then we make sure that the Narcan is restocked. So that's my proposal, and I hear that you guys are the people to talk to about potentially making that happen.
And so you had talked about one maybe like on our kiosk?
I don't know the trail very well. We saw the board on Union and the bike path. I thought that might be a good spot, but I was gonna maybe leave it up to you guys if you had ideas about where on the path might be the spots.
I'm curious just in terms of whatever data's been collected in terms of when these are posted in communities. Like, I would imagine they need to be accessible where someone's experiencing that kind of health crisis. And so they need to be, not in remote locations, but where people see them and they know they're there.
Most people take the Narcan ahead, so they have it they're not usually in the spot where the Narcan is when the emergency happens. They usually would take it, and then if there's an incident, they would have it on them. So it's more providing access to it preemptively.
So it's been used as a preventative.
Not used as a preventative, but so they have access to it when they use, or if someone.
It's like a distribution point.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if somebody
It holds
on to it,
Yes, it's harm reduction. Is the
they would
concept.
have it on hand.
So this would have more than a single Narcan?
Yes, usually the boxes have 2 or 3. individual Narcan sprays.
And the police department would be responsible for stocking
Us
the
and the
costs
health
associated
department.
with that.
Yes.
Were you thinking one spot, two spot, how many?
Mm.
How
I,
many?
w- I don't, I wish I knew how many Westfield had. Probably can't attach it to like a tree. That probably would work well. So
Hillside Park, maybe.
I was gonna say,
That's what I was
thinking.
you guys have
Millside,
control over Millside Park a little bit.
not the park, no,
but
just the rail trail.
Great.
And
Because I've
we're
been
an
trying.
advisory, we're just an advisory committee, so we don't control over the bike.
Ah,
Yeah, Millside Park, you'd need to talk to John.
But the path by the park would be great. We were thinking about the bathrooms, at
That would
Millside
be,
too.
that would be Park.
That would be
and
the
Rec.
park.
So it would
We're
need to
slowly
be
there.
so there would need to be something to attach it to.
Yes.
Like if we want, like on our shed or, like right there by Williston, that might be another
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah,
Because I see people kind of hanging out by the water there.
yeah.
And then I think the kiosk, we could probably put it on the side of, how, I mean, I
Yeah,
know
but
how
not
big
that
of-
big, like this by this.
Yeah, so like on the
Would the shed and the
post.
kiosk be too close together though?
I don't know, how far do you think that it will be? Or is it more like,
Or where are people,
Yeah.
where are people spending time?
so I would think more from like the
Downtown.
mills.
What about like at Route 5, that parking lot?
Yeah, that's what I was
That's not
thinking.
bad.
Yeah, we could, we have you could put it
There,
I think that's kind of remote though.
there.
There's a lot of,
people
No, there's the
park there and then
Dunkin'.
also people ride their
There's
bikes
the
from
Dunkin' Donuts there now
And you
too.
got the
Dunkin',
boat.
from Northampton to
Yeah.
Holyoke to us.
People start down there.
Yeah.
Town.
And once they have the connector too, they'll be.
Right.
Yeah,
So that would probably,
There, somewhere around Union
Union Street.
Street.
definitely.
Yeah, the Union Street kiosk would be good.
Yeah.
yeah, I think probably focusing from maybe Williston to the mills and then have one way down at the end, just those, I
Yeah,
mean, I don't know about
We
this.
could also just do 2 or 3 and then assess from there. It doesn't have to be all at once. Like Westfield has found that people are taking the Narcan, which is
Yes.
great because the
Yeah.
places around town, not so much so far.
Is your data set from just this area, or are we looking at across the country for this?
Oh, yeah. So, Hampshire Hope has Hampshire County data. I only have like Easthampton data, but I can get Hampshire County. Mostly what we track are calls involving a substance and overdoses, fatal and non-fatal. We don't really track like Narcan and whether it's being taken and how much and stuff like that. We should track that. If we do something like this, we can get better at tracking that.
And I'm just curious, like you keep saying that the in-town options aren't great. And how do you?
There's not being used because I go and I make sure that it's getting restocked, and usually there's no restocking that has to happen because the Narcan's still there.
Right, like the one right outside my old office down here. I mean,
Why do you think that is? What's the?
it's like people come in to pay their taxes.
I think people might be uncomfortable to take Narcan from person.
Yeah.
You think it implies something, maybe? They're seen taking Narcan?
So
There's a
the,
stigma around it
so the
still, right?
privacy of the rail trail
Yes,
encourages the
I think so.
beneficial use of this.
Especially the folks who are going to need the Narcan and want the Narcan are probably going to be a little uncomfortable taking Narcan within a business, is my guess. That's not based on anything other than my experience of people who use and the general stigma around this.
And I mean, this must be, I'm just asking about
Yeah,
the
yeah,
greater.
yeah.
Not just this area, but there must be data around this from other states, maybe, or, probably, maybe don't know.
Data in terms of like effectiveness of having access to Narcan?
Yeah, this whole program, I mean,
Yes.
yeah, I'm
We
not
know, it's the same as like clean needles, right? We know that having access to clean needles, having access to Narcan, having access to, there's a helpline in Massachusetts where you can call so you don't use alone. You guys familiar with that? So those things we know all of those things work. I don't know
Okay.
like specifics necessarily, but I know harm reductions reduce harm.
How often are the boxes checked for restocking?
I had been checking them every month and then I moved it to every quarter because things were not moving.
Are you concerned about temperature extremes with boxes being located outside?
So it's not, so cold weather, there's not so if they freeze, they still work. The issue is when you need Narcan, you don't want it to be frozen.
Right.
The good news is the people that are taking Narcan are probably not using it in that
Right
moment.
away.
So they're just taking it and it will then be at the temperature it needs to be used.
Right.
In high heat, it does lose a little bit of effectiveness. It's still effective, but it does lose it. Like Narcan in a car, really not ideal. In the boxes, we can keep them out of like direct sunlight.
Shady
Yes,
side.
but it's not going to be expired Narcan is still fine, right? Like, yeah, we can't say it's fine, it's still fine.
So,
What
so
is
the,
the expiration? Like
Yeah.
how long?
2 years.
Oh,
2 years?
wow.
Wow.
so the union kiosk would be a good attachment point. The mill side, is there somewhere that it could be attached to, or would your department install like a post, or is that
We
on,
can install a
like, how
post.
does that work if
We'd
there
have to-
wasn't a,
I think the bathrooms
Yeah,
would be
the
a good
bathroom.
spot.
okay.
And there's also signage there. There could be a signpost that's already there.
And then on Route 5, parking lot is the kiosk, right?
Yeah, you could put it on.
Okay.
Yeah, you could put it on that kiosk.
Probably.
Yeah. It's not wood, but yeah, you can screw into that.
Would it be,
How soon are you talking about?
When I get you whoever's blessing I need.
would it be possible, like in 6 months, if you could, I mean, it could be like an email of like, if it has been used
Oh,
from,
yeah.
Yeah.
because I think it would be interesting if like one kiosk is getting used and another one hasn't
Right.
been touched. That would be,
100%.
Could we
I'd be
assess
very
and
happy to
move
do
on?
that. Yep. Yeah, and they can be moved. There's no requirement that there'll be some holes.
Mhm.
But aside from that, it's no problem.
Yeah, because it may be that there's bound to be more of a need and this
Maybe
George
better
is,
spot somewhere.
Could be.
this is the person isn't signed in. Should I do, should I let him in? Maybe.
You can always
All right.
check them out.
Yeah, I'm all for
I
it.
mean, in terms of the ones that we can directly approve, like our kiosks,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's a yes,
Yeah.
probably
Right.
my side, probably a John question.
I have an email out with John. We're moving. Barbara was just like, you guys were so on top of it. It was great.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll.
Even the, other big park in town would be,
Nonotuck.
would be a suitable site, wouldn't it?
People don't wander through Nonotuck in the same way that they wander on the bike path.
And it's like such high traffic and people from other communities. So, I mean, that's like a force multiplier. I feel like
Yes.
having it on the bike path.
Yes, there's a ton of overlap between
Yeah.
Easthampton and Northampton.
And
We don't care who
Holyoke
takes
and
it.
North- yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
They really need to be shaded.
Shade is ideal. They'll still work. Just less heat is better. Less direct sunlight is better.
So you put it on the north side of whatever. You're
Yeah.
putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's your shadiest.
Oh, here we go. No. I'm just gonna ignore him. I'm just gonna.
Reading soon. That's us.
We need to communicate with if we
I
want.
think probably got posted
We're okay with it.
somewhere.
I mean, I think we could do just verbally, just take a vote maybe.
Yeah.
Just take a vote.
We're just an advisory committee, so.
Well,
But
I think.
I don't think there's a problem.
These are our, it's on the bike path ourselves and it's just another feature.
Yeah. Middle of the city. And you're.
Part of the city.
So
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
and I've been in communication with Ryan, the health director. Yeah.
So is there any liability with the city? No?
I can say that because we have through the city put them up. Like
Alright.
there's one in the city.
It doesn't mean there's not liability to the city if someone were to improperly use it.
Nope, there is no risk of misuse with Narcan. If you are not overdosing and you administer Narcan, there is no adverse response to that. People that are overdosing and receive Narcan are usually unhappy because it stops the use of the substance and then they immediately go into withdrawal, which is a really unpleasant experience, but it does keep them alive. So, but if you're not overdosing, there's no issues.
Well, I'm happy to have a motion if that's the next step.
So
make a motion.
So vote to approve installing boxes on Union Street kiosk, Group 5 kiosk, shed.
And, or Millside.
I think
or
Millside
like-
has to be.
Yeah.
Or like
Why don't we do two?
supporting Millside. Yeah.
Support for the Millside one, but I don't know how much that would be helpful.
I don't know if John's
Yeah.
opposed. I think we're just,
It's-
he's busy. It's summer. I think we're just kind of working through it.
Why don't
he
we, do
opposes all.
you want to just start with, we'll start with our 2 kiosks.
Great.
And then if it looks like there's a need to put others, like more in that direction,
Sounds great to me.
just let us know.
Yep. And I'll give you an update in 6 months with the numbers.
So, what? Oh, yeah, there's nothing really, that's
No,
Southampton,
I don't know if
actually.
that's popular.
Where the sign is, or the map is, or whatever we have down there.
It's really technically Southampton.
That's Southampton, so I don't know how that.
Coleman or?
Well, why don't we start with these two?
Let's start with the 2. So there's a motion on the floor to approve the location of the, what do you call them?
The lock
The lock boxes on the Union Street kiosk and the Route 5 kiosk.
Second the motion.
Favor? Great. Do you need something in writing or is this good enough? Okay.
Good enough.
All right, great.
Public and recorded.
Yep.
All right. Thank you guys. Any last questions?
So are you gonna coordinate with us in terms of the installation, so we could
Would that be helpful?
Yeah, if you could just,
Do you want someone to be there when we're doing the?
place
Maybe
it
we
in a certain
should.
spot?
Because, so the kiosk at Union Street is locked, but you'd put it on the side, you would obviously.
It would be helpful to have someone there so we can make sure.
Maybe
that-
we should.
yeah, why don't you just, when you're ready and put them up. So I can be there or David or, well, maybe it would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Just make sure we're
I'll email you sometimes and then you can let me know if someone's available.
terrific.
Great.
Right.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Terrific. I think that's a good thing. So. I just want to make sure I'm not missing it.
They all disappeared.
Except for George.
But, yeah,
And he was in, but then everybody else came in. So. I don't know.
Identify yourself.
Since I see that Kayla is here and we were just out there, why don't we just go to that and then we can get back to your subcommittee thing. So Kayla, so how do we want to do this? Do we want to?
Well, I think we should
Oh.
just quickly give a recap so the people who weren't out at the site visit know what we're talking about.
So yeah, we met out at Lovefield Street, right across from Kayla's house. Have some pictures. I don't know if that would be helpful.
We talked about fences or plantings.
So this is the location. So right across from where this bench was installed, there is a little berm. It's a bit of a berm, but it's basically just vegetation right now. And you can look right over into their house. Talked about maybe some evergreen type bushes, but whether they would be, how long they would take to fill in to make an effective hedge. That would be a question I'd have. And then what kind of plant do we want? An arborvitae. Wendy says, and we know that deer will eat arborvitae. The other option was to install a section of fence, have fencing installed. I mean, I think that would probably be the most immediately effective way to give some privacy.
Unless you put bushes that you can get
Yeah.
5 feet tall bushes. You just hay a lot
That's way more money.
And the other thing about plantings is, especially new shrubs, you have to.
No
water them
guarantee, yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
There's no
So you have to figure out
guarantee that,
Who the heck is gonna do watering and how?
yeah.
Right,
So-
first year, the second year.
Right, now we don't know, like the people who, put the bench in, which looks very nice with nice plantings, they have agreed to, give some money for remediation of this privacy issue. I have no idea how much. They've been in contact with John Mason, the park department director but he didn't connect with me. So I don't really know how much is available. And how much did you?
20 feet.
20 feet long section of fence. And I almost think because it goes up a little bit, it might not have to be a 6 foot.
Yeah.
It could probably be.
Doesn't make concern when people sound like sitting and loitering on the bench, loitering. So like if they're sitting, then the fence doesn't need to be as high if it's already raised up.
Yeah, 'cause there's probably it's kind of like a little
Yeah.
2 feet, like it just is a little berm.
Yeah,
We have to make sure that it can be installed there, that there's nothing under.
Correct.
no gas
Yeah,
lines.
it needs
or
to be dig safe.
electric lines.
So I think what we need to do is get back to John and Greg to see if they can at least help us get going with this and see if they have any suggestions on who might install a fence, whether there's anything underneath, like
And how much money is in that?
how much
We need to
money.
know what's left in that
Yeah.
account,
There's a rock that would have to be moved, but
maybe. Go on the other side.
it could be, yeah. So I think we're ultimately gonna have to go back down there with somebody from the city to look at this again.
I do have one question. How do people feel about plastic fence? I'm not a big fan of plastic fences personally, but I understand
I think it
the
depends
maintenance issue.
on how much is left in the account. And like what the city would want to do. It's like, I'd imagine we'd want to spend less than more. And if
Right.
like, I mean, a plastic fence does the same thing as a wooden fence does. Just did a Prop 6.5 or 2.5 override, so like,
What I don't like
Probably
about
not
them
spend more.
is that they're shiny and that like.
yeah.
You get them like a green so they blend in or something, like,
Brown at least.
yeah.
Not white.
Right.
Kayla, do you have a preference on like what kind of fence?
No, not particularly. I just want something to
Okay,
create that barrier. That's all I'm asking. Thank you all.
okay, great.
Was there some discussion, I feel like at first there was some discussion of maybe the bench was supposed to be talked about being rotated 90 degrees or something, not facing the street, but facing the mountain or something. If there's funding in the account for a fence, I don't know what the cost of just rotating the fence is, or rotating the bench would be instead. And then,
There's a pad and then there's a bench and then they've done plantings all around the back.
okay, do they install the pad as part of the bench?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so I think that unfortunately is probably the least likely thing to happen.
I also don't think that would solve like
Right.
Kayla's main concern.
If
which
they're
is-
hanging out,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're still gonna hang.
Well, it would have solved the problem originally, I think, because they would be facing the other direction. When you're sitting there, you're looking straight at her house.
Well, it's
If
just
you
because
turn
that's
it, if the pad were put in the right spot to be put up the trail, that she wouldn't have an issue, I would think, because they're not staring at her house. That's the whole point.
Yeah, I think the thing is it faces the path. So if it was the other way, it would kind of be
Right.
odd because it would be like,
Well, it gets down to who gave directions about
well,
where
I,
that pad was put.
I met out there with George and John and, I mean, there were a few people, I can't, were you there too? When we cited the bench? I mean, I have to say, we just looked at the,
Every other bench along the trail is parallel to the trail, so it's just how they're,
benches
yeah.
so, I mean, that was something that should have been done differently, but
But there's not a house across the way from those other sites you're talking about.
well, some places.
So, yeah,
So, and
there are.
her situation is pretty unique, I think. And I don't know, I went there immediately upon hearing about this and saw it and said, she's got a point. This is in the wrong spot. So that's just a reality that we're trying to cover up for now. But, what's the look?
I think when we just spoke to her, I think it seems like a fence, but because it's like people are congregating there.
They're partying late at night, they're loud.
Yeah, I mean,
Do a yard to pet our dogs.
Yeah.
Like we need a
I think,
barrier.
yeah, I mean, I was at first like, I don't know about a fence because you don't want to that you don't know for sure that that road's always going to be closed.
Right.
I mean, 20 years from now, they could reopen that road and you don't want a fence there that's going to,
The sightlines.
yeah, the sight lines, but it seems like it's far enough.
It's far enough back.
Far enough
And when you're
back.
sitting on the bench, there's actually like, the sight lines are such that there's going to be a lot of space in between the edge of the trail and where the road is and where the fence actually needs to start to solve for the
Less
privacy.
of an obstruction than probably a planting that would be bulkier.
Maybe a shorter fence and 2 bush on either end or
Could do
something.
something.
Soften it a little bit so it doesn't look so.
If it's a fence, once you put it in, you could also put some smaller plantings in front of the trail to soften the look too.
Right, yeah.
Smaller stuff, you don't have to worry about water.
Some ivy. It's covered with ivy.
No, you could have to just destroy the fence.
It'll be covered in poison ivy. Is what
Yeah.
I
I was gonna say, there's already ivy.
Yeah, there's-
Definitely gonna be covered. with
all right, well, I mean, what I can, write to start the conversation with John. Greg is on vacation till next week. But I think that we need to push them and say, all right, this has been long enough. And we need to, we kind of think a fence might be the best solution.
And we want to do it this season
Yeah,
because
we
it's
wanna
already
do
in the
it.
middle of
Yeah.
July. We don't want to wait.
So
till the
it may
ground
be
freezes.
that
We can't.
we're gonna have to, maybe they can suggest some places that we can reach out to because otherwise I think things might not get done. I mean, if they can
Is
at
the
least,
Friends group willing to contribute as needed to the cost?
Well, let's see how much there is in the.
that is the first, and they may be willing to, like Hale was saying, they're the people who put the bench in, if they feel kind of bad about this. So if it is more than, I mean, we have no idea how much we
Right.
have or how much it's gonna cost.
Right.
So until we find out both of those things, it's a little. I mean, we paid for fences along South Street. It's people's backyards. It's basically the same kind of. All right. Well, that sounds good.
Okay, so you're gonna.
I'll reach out. I'll send them an email tomorrow and stay on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just call them
This is
every
going to
day.
be a squeaky wheel gets the grease situation.
Is that okay, Kayla?
Does that sound good?
That'd be great. Thank you so much.
Thank
Okay,
you.
we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Next on to the discussion about a sub.
Yes, so subcommittee, I'm going to ask Alexis to tag team this one with me. But basically, Alexis and I have been talking about setting up a subcommittee that's specifically focused on bike and pedestrian concerns, so use of the trail. In my mind, this committee has sort of two parts of what we need to do. One is the physical maintenance. Make sure the trail is not strewn with trash. Make sure that the trail is physically able to be used by people. And then the other part of it, I think, is how are people using the trail? And something that, Alexis brought up this idea to me in conversation. And then one thing that really, I've been in my mind ever since that proposed ordinance came through about e-bikes, and we all, if Alexis hadn't just had an inside line with one of the city councilors, we would have had no idea. And it really got me thinking about how can we be more proactive about being more on top of situations like that so that we're not scrambling to react. Alexis, I'll ask you to tag in here as well about any.
Yeah, I think I'm just really excited about all the upcoming infrastructure projects we have. I did, for example, the Oxbow project, I actually did write MassDOT and they gave me the entire timeline of the Oxbow project that's going to go up to Northampton on Route 5. There's the Main Street redesign. There's the project to get to the school, Mountain View School, the Park Street project. Eventually, there's going to be a project to go up to Route 10. And then there's the New City project. Most of them interact with the trail in some capacity, but they also kind of require buy-in from neighborhoods, and we're not doing a lot of outreach to support these projects. The MassDOT project on Route 5 is kind of fine because the neighborhood over there on the island, that's in Northampton, and they're already excited about it. But like the Park Street project to get to Mountain View, there's going to be takings. There's already, they posted it on Facebook, and there was already lots of like, kids don't deserve sidewalks kind of conversation going on. So I feel like we need to be supporting the city in all these exciting projects and having and not be so disconnected from what the city is doing. So yeah, and I feel like I feel like we can do that by working more closely with city councilors or just having a subcommittee that kind of keeps tabs of all of this. Right now, it's just like I have a folder and I do it in my spare time, and I'm just in a vacuum. So it'd be nice to have. Yeah, I think I'm rambling. So, any questions?
Would you think like for like getting in the good message out, did you like, I guess that would be the idea for the subcommittee, but like, what did you have things in mind for like doing like lit drops or like direct mailing or like?
I mean, there's like so many things that can be done, but it, depends on how much capacity we have as a group. Like, yeah, and I think there's a lot of untapped support for bike infrastructure in Easthampton. And I think people move here because of the rail trail, but then they move to like over on, East Street, where it's really hard to get to the trail. And so they need to bike to get to the trail on East Street, which has no fog lines and no bike path. And the traffic goes 45 miles an hour. So like, there's, and there's also lots of like other things I would want to work on is like bike parking. Like both Mountain View and the high school have a ton of bike racks. Nonotuck Park has 0 bike racks, and all the kids get driven there to go to their sports activities. And I feel like they could be biking there and park their bikes. Or if they are parking their bikes, they're parking them on chain link fences or something. There's not bike parking in Nonotuck Park, which seems like a huge miss to me. Yeah, just I think there's a lot of work to be done, and I don't think there's a such thing as any city committee or bike ped group that can do everything, but like I think we have the capacity and the energy to do more.
Yeah, like, and also in Northampton, we have the Northampton Friends of the Rail Trail Committee or group. But they're not part of they're not a city or, committee, but they try to work with the Bicycle and Ped Committee in town. We have a very active relationship with them to try to do this very thing. We're talking about the same things a lot, which is, the users of the rail trails writ large, all of Northampton here, Norwalk. And I think that the whole idea of the rail trail system does connect. Westfield's done a very good job with that connection with their rail trail. They actually have really nice ramps. It's very easy to get out and off over there. So, and there's just a little more consciousness around that connectivity to the city. And with the extension to Southampton coming up soon, and I forget his name, the guy who came here and
Craig Delapenna.
Yeah, Craig.
He's prophesizing a lot more traffic from bicycles and bicycle tourism coming through here. And, Main Street redesign is coming. That's a big part of this whole thing. So I'm going to be involved with making videos, as I have been under my Equal Streets production, as an ongoing production of actually tackling these things head on, interviewing people, talking about the benefits of that interconnectivity, businesses, all that. So, I'm going to be involved with that in Easthampton. And I think the subcommittee can sharpen that focus with people that are really focused in on that. And that works well with this larger group here, which, does all the other stuff. So I think it's a good idea.
It almost seems to me as if it should be bigger than just our committee. Like not just have, I mean, cause I don't know how much time anybody here has, but like it almost seems like it should be a committee that has a couple of us on it, but then more people than that. But I don't know how to really go about
Oh,
that.
the mayor's office last week called me to see if I would be interested in joining the community relations city committee.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's only like 2 people on that right now.
That's a different type of committee
Yeah,
than this
right. It's like but
social issues kind of.
yeah, but I'm wondering if like, 'cause I haven't decided to do that or not, but like, I'm wondering if yeah, I know, that's why, like, if I do, I mean, that like, sounds like Alexis to what you were saying, like just trying to get word out more, and they kind of want to seemingly re-envision what the community relations committee is. So, yeah.
That's the community relations committee is set by ordinance, so it's pretty defined on what it is. So you should definitely read that.
Yeah.
I don't see it really seeing anything with this type of. That's just my personal opinion.
There is a need more broadly to kind of pay attention to pedestrian bicycle issues in the community as a whole, not just along the trail. And I agree, like that would be something that would make sense for us to be part of, but not necessarily spring solely from us.
It seems like the planning department should put
Public
together
safety.
something like that, you know. I
And
think that
maybe the
would,
police department, because again, I don't know about you all, but I've encountered many vehicles that are on the trail that should not be on the trail. They're little motorcycles that the kids are riding at 90 miles an hour. Somebody's going to get hurt. And I think instead of being reactive, we should be proactive and try to figure out a way to control that. And
I mean,
I
maybe
don't know if that's something that would be within this.
maybe it's something
committee's
that we need
purview.
to reach out to Salem to say, you know, we think that because of all these projects and some issues on the trail that are broader than just the trail, that maybe there should be a, you know, and some kind of a working group
Like an ad hoc
committee,
committee.
Right.
that
With city councils, I mean, somebody from city council should maybe be.
they could be.
I think including the planning department is a good idea.
Yeah.
And he speaks about that in the video that I made when on the bike week video. He kind of explained his enthusiasm for this very thing and how he's encouraging his departments to work in that direction going forward. And he specifically pointed out the planning department. So I know that the good news is that he is very proactive in that area. And I think that this committee would be a very good fit with his administration.
I mean, even if it could be a group of people that the planning department can reach out to, like, you know, have a police department rep, a bike path committee rep, a planning department, you know, have like a group of people that aren't really a committee. They're kind of like a
liaison.
yeah, like you know, that we would feed them information and they would feed us information. I mean, something like that, I think would pull everything together. But
Yeah, and the
it
bike
seems
committee in
like-
Northampton is attended by Carolyn Meesh, who's the planning director there.
Yeah.
So it is sort of connected to that there too.
because lots of times we're like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I think that's the problem I'm trying to address is that we're all operating kind of in silos.
Right.
And I
So-
feel like we could be more integrated.
Maybe we need to write to the mayor and the planning director. Somebody might be good at doing that with just this idea that it might be good to have like a, I don't want to make it be a committee, but it more like just a
Advisory group.
advisory group. That's, yeah.
Wasn't a subcommittee just that?
Well, subcommittee would be,
That would make it so it's only people on our committee could be members, and
Oh, right.
it would be better if I think if more
Yeah,
people could be
like
on.
a,
What if we started with a subcommittee with the purpose of contacting other departments or committees or,
Right.
you know, trying to get that established?
Yeah.
And also having an eye towards, you know, increasing access to the bike trail through other networks, right? It's not just the bike trail physically, as Alexis was saying, like, you know, people need bike infrastructure in order to get to the bike trail, in order to use the bike trail, which is definitely under, I would say, our purview.
Yeah.
So a committee could say, we want more access to the bike trail. And one way we are proposing to do that is to work with other city departments and other committees to, be less siloed and start there. I would say that's
Make sure we're in the loop.
And funding. I mean, these connections then need to be funded and maintained. So where is that money coming from? So we have to.
CPA does have money for connections to the rail trail. And Eva has reached out to us as a group to ask, and I met with her in December and I made sure it said connections to the Manhan rail trail in CPA funding. It's not scheduled, but it's generically written in there for the next 5 years.
The CPA did recently, though, just make an announcement that all of their previous commitments are like,
this happened.
Sorry.
all of their previous commitments are like kind of washing their hands.
Oh,
And-
okay.
But like, no, but
Big.
yeah, no, it's kind of weird. They're like, kind of like, oh, I think they have to reevaluate. But yeah, like,
Well, too, with the CPA committee, you can't just, you have to go there with plans and.
Yeah, it's a whole process.
Yeah, you can't, just go there looking for, So we would need the planning department and their assistance and the DPW and all that kind of stuff. And there's been many, I know John Lucido had a whole map of possible ways to connect neighborhoods to streets and things. I mean, that was like, he's had that for like 10 years.
For years and
Years. Yeah. I mean, because they're not easy. They're not easy connections. They're complicated and
expensive.
Yeah. So.
Mostly, I'm just hoping to keep track of the current projects that are currently in the pipeline, not adding new projects that don't exist yet. But there's already 5 that I know of that are in the pipeline to be built. And that doesn't even count Southampton that are in to be built in the next, 5 years.
Well, I mean, we could designate a couple people to be liaisons to, okay, you're going to reach out to, the DPW, to reach out to the departments and then report back on what's going on. And those departments would need to know that, they're going to be asked for status updates. It's just an idea.
Along that line, I was wondering if we could somehow convince the city to let somebody on this committee be involved in the planning for this next grant and what it's going to cover and what's going to be, what the work is going to entail.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure that everybody agreed with the priorities that were set for the last one, and we weren't really involved at all or consulted. And I think it would be helpful to be.
Yeah, we can reach out to Mandy because I think that they should also go back and kind of look at what was done and make sure cracks are filled in and things that from the last project are good before they start.
Correct.
Yeah.
And see what they did that worked and what they did that didn't work and make changes.
I think we could definitely put together something to send to the engineering department. Let them know
that we
whether
would
they
like to
pay
be-
any attention
Right.
is another thing, but we could. And I think it would be good to do that now.
Correct.
Long before, they are, by the way, going to the city council with a request for the match for the funding. And I haven't been asked for any, which is good. I can't remember what the amount was, but I think it went to them like their last meeting. So it should be pretty soon for the match.
So how do we want to accomplish that?
So I wonder if a next step in terms of, I feel like we're having 2 different conversations.
Right,
Yeah.
we are.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I kind of
that's
diverged,
true.
but it's connected because.
Yes, so I wonder if next step in terms of this potential subcommittee, whether that stays as a subcommittee of this group or becomes its own thing, I wonder if first, if there is interest from people in being a part of it, maybe a group of us can separately get together and, decide, what is the best path forward here. Separate from that, subgroup of us should probably think about how to approach Mandy and the engineering department. I'm happy to be a part of that because I'm assuming if there's any matching funds, some of it's going to come from the Friends, so I can put on my president hat, right, part of that conversation.
I'm hoping that they don't ask us for anything.
Yeah.
We haven't been asked yet. I mean, I could write her an email. We could at least see what she says. But as far as we would start. So we want to be more have a presence in the discussion about the priorities for how this money is spent. I think I'd rather reach out to her than to I'd rather,
I'd be happy to talk to someone from the mayor's office about like their appetite for like an interconnected.
and you should be on the subcommittee.
I'd be happy to.
Me and Lisa and Alexis. Here we
I'd
go.
like to be on it as well.
Oh,
There we
okay.
go. All right.
Can I also be on it? How big can a subcommittee get before it's?
Or it's just the committee.
Or if it's not needed, that's fine too. But
Well, we have to be careful that we don't have I don't really know what the quorum of our
Right,
committee
yeah.
is.
The quorum is less than, I think it has to be more than 50%. So how many people do we have?
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So I think our full committee is like up to like 18.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we're good. Anything on, yeah,
But if you did have a meeting, you probably should.
probably still take notes.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll take notes and then report back to the committee. That's what I thought what a subcommittee does. Is like you take notes and then report it back and that becomes the official record.
Good. I like it. All right.
All right.
Do we need a motion
Or is this
I
just,
make a motion that we establish a working subcommittee of our committee members to investigate, what did you say? Bike pedestrian concerns in the city. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Second?
Second.
Second.
All right. I will start an email with the 5 of us.
Just don't deliberate.
Just don't,
Don't deliberate.
no deliberation.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna-
Wait, what's deliberation?
Oh, by email. You can't make decisions.
You're not supposed to discuss that.
I mean, you probably should even post a meeting and have an agenda.
I think there is a thing where if it's less than
We'll have to look at the open meeting law.
3
yeah,
people,
I can look at the open meeting law.
More than three. Let's look at the
but then
open
if it's
meeting.
more than 3, even if it's not quorum, you still have to post maybe. I think that's what it is.
Yeah,
That's how it is with city councilors, at least I'm not.
we'll have to look at the, open meeting law about it. Yeah. Because I can't remember.
No plotting to overthrow the government.
At least not via
Who
email.
has the time, honestly?
All right, let's see. Follow-up discussion, sculpture placement on the bike path near Union Street. Yes?
Yeah, I can do that. Last meeting, Pascalina came and visited us and talked about the sculpture and some of the cool things that she's got planned for art on the rail trail, which I think is fantastic. I mean, I'm a big proponent of all that and happy to see that she's got something happening. This is, you can pass that around. This is a picture of where that location is. When she presented last time, she didn't really have anything to pass around like that. So we were all kind of on our phones trying to look at it and figure it out. And during that meeting, I raised the concern. I thought that the sidelines might be bad. And so the next morning I went down a road, that section going from east to west, and thought the same thing very much so. I thought it was the placement of this pad is in a terrible spot. Because if there's a sculpture there too, when you're turning that corner, you're coming through and it's often busy and there's cars and you're really kind of trying to, that's probably one of the more crunchy intersections on a bike for the whole rail trail system, because you're trying to deal with a whole lot going on. And my thought was this pad is in a really bad spot. I mean, it's almost like in the perfectly wrong spot. I suggested to Pascalina that maybe they do a mock-up and of scale size, and she did. What this is, she took a picture, and I think, we were talking in the abstract, is this gonna, break sight lines, and I was like, let's do a mock-up, put it up, and we'll find out. Well, she did the mock-up. I think that was very good. She did this with Allison from the planning department. They both went down there and did this. And it didn't change my mind. In fact, it made me more concerned about the sightlines. Again, for that very congested, kind of busy section with now e-bikes and a different speed of things happening in there. So my conclusion is, and the other thing about this was that the pad, this is another picture of the pad. The pad is right up next to the rail trail. I mean, it's a hard, very dangerous, to the skin. You can cut yourself on that. You can hurt yourself. You can run into it.
Sure.
This is foot traffic and bicycle traffic. That right pushed up next to the trail and making a choke point on that intersection, on that little section, is really unnecessary. I mean, I couldn't think of a worse place to put this thing, in my own opinion. I ride that every day. I'm aware of the situation. Obviously, there's other ways of looking at it. She's very, very convinced that it's fine. She spoke about how the DPW and Allison all think it's going to be just fine. I think it raises a lot of questions. One of the questions is, do we really need art sticking in the most kind of confused? Is this a good spot for this kind of art? Because people want to stand there and look at it. It's not a place where you want people standing. You really want that. What you want is that to be open. With road design, you want to put bump outs and you want to put traffic calming. You want to put stuff in there to slow the cars down. We're not talking about cars, we're talking about people. And so you want this to be a little bit more open and friendly, because things happen there. And I've been involved in many situations there where people aren't paying attention because it's very confusing. I just think it's a really bad spot. My other concern was that when she came to us, the pad was already poured. She knew it was going there. I'm not really sure what she was asking our approval for, because in subsequent conversations with her about this, it's going there. That ain't gonna change. So I was like, well, what were you asking us at the meeting? I mean, I understand that it's a good thing that she's doing that, but at the same time, there was no wiggle room. And again, I really like what she's doing for public art in this city, and I want to get more on the rail trail. I think it's a really good idea. I want to do tiny art galleries like we're doing over in Northampton. I think there's a lot to be done in this space, and she's ahead of it, and she's doing a great job. I just think that this is kind of road design thinking a la DPW. Again, here's a cement pad that was poured kind of in the wrong spot. We have that over there in another situation we were talking about earlier. I don't know if there's a way to prevent that from going there in the first place. Is there another conversation that we need to be having with some people to sort of get this right? Because again, the traffic on this rail trail is going to increase over the next several years, especially with the Southampton extension. I backed down gracefully and just said, look, let's agree to disagree. And this is just me. This is just because I'm just, I think about these things a lot. I'm involved a lot with road design. And I just think it's sort of a ham-fisted good attempt at getting some art out there. I don't know. It's open for discussion. That's my point of view.
Well, and you sent around a video, I think, of approaching from the side.
Yeah.
And I think it was like 2 or 3 people walking, and they all were perfectly where the statue is going to be.
Right.
As you approach, it's almost like, as they're walking towards and as you bike towards, you rotate around the statue in a way that they continue to be invisible to you.
I didn't see them until the last
They
second.
were coming actually from, I think,
Yeah,
7-Eleven
right.
rather than across the
Yeah,
street
yeah.
where you would be
But
more
anyone's-
likely to see them.
Right, but if anybody's coming from,
Right, that angle.
Cottage area, they get hidden as you approach. I'm also, I've always wondered about the concrete pads. I didn't know their purpose until, a month ago or whatever. But I always thought about, I run this section a lot, and if a bike's coming, one way or the other, on any other section of the trail, you can just kind of step off the trail. But, it's a harsh angle. And if someone's not looking, or if there's ice or, whatever.
It's hard and it's you can get cut on it.
Yeah.
Just seems like
The
a
whole
weird.
section was, and it kind of goes back to Wendy, what you were saying, it was redesigned.
Slow people down.
Well, and it was
But the
for the reconstruction, but then also the paving of Union Street,
right.
which we were told about and not really asked for consultation.
We didn't have any
Which,
impact.
'cause that's not really what we-
Whole,
no input.
Yeah, but that was like, because it was a Mass Dot project, right? Union
right.
Street. So that was like the state. They redesigned, they put in that brick stuff and kind of blew up that part of the intersection and made it a wider area of the intersection where there's the trail, then like that red brick space, and then added that new stop sign and lights.
Yeah,
So it's
then
like
they added
people are
it.
supposed to be stopping at that stop sign, which is before or at that statue, and then you're supposed to stop again at the road. So if people are stopping where they're supposed to, which doesn't happen, but if they are stopping where they're supposed to, then there's no issue. But that's not what's happening.
I'm just concerned it's kind of a tripping hazard, those pointed corners.
Mhm.
Whether it's a bike or
I mean, what
or
happens when
walking or
people get
running.
crunched
And there's another
into
one on
something?
the other
Someone's
side.
gonna run into that with their ankle or the dog, whatever. It's just, I mean, the structure itself is kind of scary, but the placement is just, it's unfortunate that that's where they went. And again, I keep on asking the question, whoever did that,
It was Mass Dot.
what were their instructions? Who told them where to put this? Or did they just do it on the,
State engineers.
from what I was told
This
from
government
Pascalina is
meeting
that
is brought to
they
you
just
by
kind of did it on
Eastworks
their
and
own.
our local
They
cable
thought that was a good
subscribers.
spot for it. Now,
There's
to me,
another
that's
one
just
on the
not,
other side too.
Yeah, the other one.
that's just not really an answer to me. I
It's
mean,
on the
not,
other side of the street.
I think it's right there.
I don't find that to be,
Right, because that's a little off.
But it's not in it's not in the same corner.
Right, it's not as bad as
I mean, is there any way, well, I guess, is the artwork made? It's gonna be the height that it's gonna be?
I don't know if it's the actual thing. I think it is.
Because, I
They had
think
to-
if they could move,
I think the
Yeah, that's-
pads are like the
That's
same
what I
size.
thought. I said, what about if they moved it to the other side of
yeah,
the street?
if they could move I don't know what the plan is for the other pad. Maybe it's the same thing, but if there's a shorter,
smaller thing there, yeah.
yeah, and then
Reverse the two sides so that.
angle
faces-
the, if you could take out the granite,
Mhm.
sidewalls and do like a taper on the concrete or something like that, that'd be better. And then, yeah, put the taller statue over there. Yeah.
Or down the way a little bit. I mean, I think Alexis had a point, just to put it down.
Right.
And sculptures don't have to be, this art, you want it sort of spread out. I mean, the thing about the tiny galleries over in Northampton is that they're just spread out, and it's great because they're in the sort of almost in the middle of nowhere, and you stop in the middle and it's not a lot of traffic.
It's something that could be scooped up, like with
Put somewhere
a,
else, yeah.
and relocate.
I'm sure it goes down a little while.
Probably.
But it has a cobble or
Yeah.
gravel underneath.
Yeah.
Right.
And
For drainage.
somebody mentioned something about distractions, not only a distraction for the biker, but notice they're gonna be looking at this thing,
Well, I
driving
think
this
the big
way and
PSP
look
sign
at
will-
that, and people are gonna be crossing in front of
They
them.
can't see it because it's,
Advertisements.
so the bank sign prevented that from happening.
Yeah, I mean, so I think the video you sent was really quite convincing, because that's
Yeah.
a biker's gonna be in motion,
Yeah.
and it really blocked the sight line.
Yeah, I mean, it caught me off guard kind of when I was shooting it. I was like, yikes, whoa,
Yeah,
these kids came at me pretty fast.
I mean, I know that we're an advisory committee, but I would be happy to say, hey, to DPW, we advise you to reconsider, or to really look at the safety implications, or best practices.
Because that's kind of where I settled, was this is now a public safety issue. It was supposed to be a nice art gesture, and I, again, totally appreciate that. But then this happened and now it's a public safety issue. If you get somebody rubbed up against that, the city doesn't want that problem. That's just asking for trouble.
Public safety committee.
Yeah, I mean, would somebody would be willing to like start a draft letter maybe with, and then maybe we could just at least send something so our thoughts are known, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that if,
we can only control.
yeah,
And would this go to city council, the mayor,
Um,
DPW, and the public safety?
I think it could
committee?
go to all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so it's
Cover all
known
your
and
ground.
that if anything
And
ever.
art,
happened-
and the art.
Yes, and Pascaline and the mayor. Yeah. Just so if anything happens, you don't want to think that, but
I know.
There's no reason why not to just present this argument, and with in all good faith, Pascaline's got a lot going on. She's, this is a project that's been going on for a long time. She just kind of wants to get it done. I get that, but
Safety.
it's our responsibility on this rail trail, I think, to sort of just be on lookout for that kind of thing.
I wonder if there might be a better place along the trail that they could just put a pad in and install it in another location.
You're mentioning a thing across the street,
I
possibly.
mean, even in a place where there isn't a pad right now, just a place, even if it's just off the trail a bit, or maybe.
I was thinking behind like the mills on the south side by the National Nonwovens. There's that huge like entrance to the trail, and it's just lawn. There's nothing else. There's room to look at art. It's in the middle of the trail. I just think that's a cool spot. Like I would be like, oh, look at it, like if I came across it. But I don't know who owns the property or how much process you have to go through and yada yada yada.
I would imagine that the thinking behind putting these here was like, it was a state project, so there was funding. So it's like they wanted, Easthampton City Arts wanted platforms to put public art. I was like, oh, that was the best venue to do it. That's where the state money was the Union Street construction, and that's why they were put there. That's what I would imagine.
100%. I think that's what happened.
It's just, you got to do where the funding is from and where it's going.
And also it's a spot where not only is a bike trail, but people on the
Right, some
sidewalk,
people-
lots of people
Right.
can see this
There's
because
a
of
whole
where.
section of grass there. I mean, they had a lot of work. They had a lot to work with there. And they kind of
Yeah, they didn't have to put it.
Yeah, if they had
The weird
pushed it
spot.
back about 6 or
just
8
over
feet.
back a little bit off, it'd be perfect. You want it a little distance from your yard anyway. You kind of want to be like up next to it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Where I've always thought, I can't believe they haven't done something here, is that little thing by Tandem, the little,
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
right in there.
Yeah.
Right where we've got the stones right in it
Yeah,
there.
is there
and you-
a bench there or something?
Well, we used to have benches there and we took them out.
Okay.
And then they redid the whole thing. But there's that like spot that would be
Yeah.
perfect for
Is that
some.
Williston owned area or is that state city?
I don't know how far off the trail our property goes. I don't think. Anyway, that's besides the point.
But I didn't want to throw any cold water on what she does. I was being very careful to just, say, this is just us doing our thing.
And I think a letter
job.
could, if somebody wanted, do you
Yeah.
want to start it?
You dropped a letter or?
Yeah, I can do that.
I don't know if you have some more details on because I'm curious if the other pad is going to have a similar piece of art or if they could be swapped.
That
The
would
other
be-
one's
yeah.
shorter and maybe that, I don't know, to propose, to say this idea needs some consideration. Here's like 2 or 3 possible options depending on,
Respectfully suggest.
yeah.
Right.
And she did say it was going to be a timed, this piece of art is not permanent. It's going to be rotated or.
Oh, interesting.
Did she say that when she was, I think she
Maybe,
said,
but I don't
I think
remember
she
that.
said it's going to be
Oh.
here for a bit and then something else.
I would think they'd want to.
Because the other one that they did by down there, that's been
That's been there
Yeah.
forever.
She heard it, but I thought that's what she said.
Great. Do you guys want to start on something and
Yep.
don't send it, just draft it
And
and
then distribute it to
Yep, but-
bring it to the next meeting or something.
Yeah, is it better to bring it to the next meeting or to email it around?
email it so we can all look at it.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And I can,
Because timing, how soon were they going to put this in?
October.
Yeah.
October, so we don't want to wait.
Yes.
August.
August 24.
I mean, I suppose if we think it looks good enough, it could go.
Yeah, the details.
SPARA.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't want it there to go just from a couple people to.
Right. No, I think the entire committee.
More clear. Sorry.
Is that legal?
I think as long as you don't like start a serial, like, oh yeah, I like Lisa.
Bad handwriting.
You can never read what they say.
You just write to the person directly.
Yes, I approve as is, or there's a typo in line three, or, you know, whatever. All right.
I didn't get that. Shoved their hand in their mouth. Oh.
Well, why don't you guys start it and then we'll see where,
All right, we'll do that.
I mean, if it has to wait till our August meeting, it's,
There's still enough time, hopefully.
yeah. Or at least it will put our.
Right.
All right, so, trail maintenance update, including brush cutting. So I suppose we should talk about the brush cutting first.
Did you get the pictures I sent you from South Street
Yes.
section? Okay.
Yes.
I could have taken many more because they're all the way down. It's leaning, things are growing over the trail.
So
It needs to go all the way down to Coleman.
yeah, so we all know the situation behind the mills, but Alexis also brought up the point where there's a hedge. I have a picture of it if anyone wants to see. Right on the bike path that needs to be trimmed. Pass that around. It's right by Millside Park, so.
Yeah.
But it's not something that you can go with your little hedge trimmers because it needs to be somebody
Like
that
12
has,
feet up.
it needs to be one of those landscape people that has the long trimmers that do hedges.
It's got vines covering part of the top.
Yeah. Oh, so I wrote to Greg, he's on vacation. I wrote to John Mason because it's right there at Millside Park. And he said that they have a similar problem down at Main Street Cemetery. So I said, ooh, maybe we could work together and you could, you know, if you have somebody doing Main Street Cemetery, we can have somebody come and do that too. Well, he says Main Street Cemetery has no money. So it's basically come back to us. I did a little search and there are a few companies, landscape companies, Braden's Landscaping, which, you know, a young guy, Cotton Tree Service will come and trim hedges. But it's,
So it's not a brush cutting thing.
it's not a brush cutting thing, no. It's a hedge. It's some kind of a,
Well, it's two trees.
Is it arborvitae?
I don't know what it is.
I think it's a big cedar. It looks like a cedar to me.
Trees,
Yeah, yeah, but I, this picture of the girl walking, I thought kind of
Yeah.
showed really what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, when you're riding your bike and you're leaning like
Yeah.
this, it is a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do.
Yeah. Like, so I don't recall that ever being trimmed. So it's been there for a while and I think it's finally reached the point where it needs,
Kinda
something
have to.
needs to be done. So
So we have to pay for it is the bottom line.
I think so, yeah. So,
Okay.
but I think that it does need to be done. It needs to be. And I think because I don't know how old those bushes are, I'd rather have somebody come in that really understands the growth of those bushes, so it doesn't
Right.
like,
You don't want it to
Kill
be
them?
ugly.
I mean, it might be something that they do a little bit this year and a little bit next year. So I don't know if anybody has any experience with landscaping companies. I could just call a
Use,
couple people.
I think Chuck used Bartlett before, essentially.
I don't know if Chuck Shea would,
So he's a tree cutter.
it's just trees.
I did look it up.
Be great to
He-
do one that's
he
in
does-
Easthampton.
Fruit trees.
Here's Cotton Tree Service, book hedge shearing today. It says, we believe that a well-maintained hedge does more than define property lines. And with this, our professional hedge shearing services are designed, so I mean, they might be too expensive.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they're, you know,
I know, Jesse, I don't know the name of his business, but Jesse Harrison lives here in Easthampton, does landscaping. I'm happy to ask him if this is something that they're equipped to do. Their big thing is they use all electric equipment, so it's also a very eco-friendly company.
Yeah, I would just want to make sure somebody that understands the particular type of bush or tree that it is, because some of them may be different than others. And this has, because it hasn't been trimmed in a while, it might be, a little tricky thing. So you don't want somebody who just says, yeah, sure, I can trim a hedge.
Yeah, you don't want it to get
So,
mangled.
yeah, we want to check
Reach
that out.
out to Jesse.
Okay, terrific.
But then what about
He does
the
not
rest of
have-
South Street? I mean, we need to
I don't
Yeah.
know
the DPW down there
well,
because it's a long distance. It's not just a few little spots. There's
so it's kind of up against, is it up against a bank or a wall?
no.
No, it's
Well,
right
I
there by
mean,
Williston.
some of it by Park Street Bridge, but even before you get to the Park Street Bridge, there's sections that are hanging over. I can go into pictures that I sent.
Yeah,
But even as you continue on South Street, on the other side between South Street and Coleman, there's some sections where
It's brush encroaching on the
It's
trail, or is
starting
this up overhead?
Well, I think if you cut it off, it's just junk stuff. It could be saplings and stuff, which you don't want growing that close to the trail anyway. I don't know what it is, but it's,
So is that like something for the brush hog?
I would say it would be a brush hog.
Does it usually get brush hog in that area?
I don't know if they've done that
Yeah.
before.
that's yours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's closer to, Park Street.
Park Street.
That's that section between Williston and Park.
Oh, is that right
Can't remember
before the
a few
bridge?
there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yes,
before that.
and the bridge.
Right by the, where
No,
Park
that's
Street goes
poison
over.
ivy. I'm not touching
It
that
probably
poison ivy.
is.
Yeah.
See, I know that the brush hog is pretty hard to see. And I totally understand the concerns for that behind the mills. But if you don't cut stuff back pretty severely, it just comes right back.
I know.
I thought we did the brush hogging in the winter, not during the summer.
Well, yeah,
I don't
that's,
remember
that's,
being done in the summer before.
that's the only, no, they've done it before because right down at East Street, you got that long grass stuff.
I think they did that last year there.
Yeah, you
last summer.
have to, or else you wouldn't be able to get through the path.
I thought the East Street was done, when they did it on East Street, it was National Grid, not DPW.
Then DPW has done it down there too. Yeah. I mean, that's the only equipment that they have.
Didn't we have like, I thought we had like the senior tax credit person who did maintenance.
You don't have one
We
this
don't
year.
have one.
Nobody
and-
applied.
Kind of thing.
And that is like way beyond a senior
Yeah.
tax worker.
Too high and too.
There's
much.
poison ivy, there's sumac, their job really is to fill the doggy pots and look for trash and graffiti.
Gotcha.
That is a job that, in the past, we've had work groups that have gone out. We've been down at Route 5, I have pictures, just piles of vines and poison ivy and you can't, you're never gonna find people that will do that because it's too much work. It's like full of stuff that you don't want to get all over you. And it's, when it's hot and I don't know. It's a tough situation, but it's not something for volunteers.
Did they brush cut down toward Route 5 where it was overgrown?
Not
I know
been
you
down
reported
there.
it.
I did tell them
Yeah.
about that. I
I just
assume,
wonder when they did behind the
I
mills, if
bet
they
they
also,
did, but I'm not sure.
has anyone?
Has
been down
anybody,
there recently?
have you been down?
The other
By
week, I
then?
don't remember if there was.
down that way for a while.
Because
Last time I
that,
was down there, there's tons of Japanese knotweed.
yes.
Right, that's what it was.
But I haven't.
I did send him the pictures of that.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that they did
And the same thing happened there with that last year.
every year.
It looks like that every year, so
It's just,
something that's like, they should just schedule it because it's gonna be there.
It is.
The irony of Japanese knotweed is that when you cut it down with landscaping equipment, it will basically, any particle of the Japanese knotweed that gets left on the property turns into more Japanese knotweed. And they also don't clean their equipment. And so they'll go to another site and then continue to spread it throughout the city. So it's kind of, there's just not a good, like, the way to manage it is by putting it in black plastic bags and using, for better or for worse, using insecticide, which we have been doing some of that with the bees committee, and we have been coming up with volunteers, and we have been going out, but only in one section. We weren't doing the entire trail.
Yeah, I know. I agree with that. I'm just, realistically.
right, and when it becomes a safety hazard because it's, narrowing the trail and you're having to move to avoid it and talking about obstructions.
I guess my concern is they go 10 feet off the trail all the way down the side of the river, or the side of the mill pond, not 3 feet from the path. The amount that they take is like highway levels of trimming.
Actually, I think that's almost good, because if they did only 3 feet,
It'd be back there in a month.
by October, they'd be back down there having to do it again. Where they cut it, I know it looks really bad now, and I agree, but at least it will cut things back. And if it grows up, it'll be less. But I know it looks bad.
It doesn't grow less is my point. Not with, and I thought we did the brush cutting in the winter only. The way it is cut in the summer disrupts the life cycle of all the plants in the area.
I don't have a better solution for that. So if anybody else does, that'd be good to
Could we
hear.
ask them to do it later in the season,
We asked them to do it because it was right in the middle of the trail.
Yeah.
It was blocking the trail.
Overgrown.
We can say don't do it until fall, but then half the trail is going to be covered up by stuff. You saw the pictures of what it was like. We had a half a trail.
Yeah, it was bad.
So I don't know. It's a tough one. I'm not sure if there is a really good solution.
In retrospect, I half wish that had been considered when the trail was created, so as to maybe make a wider trail so that.
Well, when it was first put in, it just grows right in.
But I'm talking about the paving,
to have a wider.
right? That the trail itself be wider.
Yeah.
I'm fine with tabling it. Obviously, it is what it is for this season. I feel like there can be a more nuanced approach, and I feel like it comes out of, part of the reason I was upset is because I had been going down there and volunteering, and this essentially erased all the work that I had done all year, the earlier part of the season, in order to get rid of the knotweed and allow the natives to grow back. My philosophy with dealing with natives and invasives is you plant natives that can keep the invasives at bay. And that's what we were doing. And now they're all dead too. So
the thing with the bees committee,
yeah,
if you're not telling people what you're doing or where you're doing it, then nobody's going to know.
We did, and we have. Remember, Sean came to the committee last year and he said he was going to be working on the section behind Ed's auto body, and we've been going back there every month.
Okay, but if you were behind the mills,
we're not allowed to do behind the mills because it's next to the water, and that is protected by some obscure law. For some reason, DPW is allowed to use brush cutting equipment, but we can't go in and do invasive there. Invasive removal.
So what are you doing behind Ed's auto body? I mean,
We were hand cutting all of the knotweed, and we got finished. We literally just finished cutting the whole patch down.
Okay. I haven't been through there, so how do you think it looks?
It's all been destroyed by the brush cutting, so it doesn't matter anymore.
They didn't brush cut up there.
Yes, they did. They did the whole trail.
They did that. I think they did
The whole stretch there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Well,
That was beyond what we asked
yeah, we
them
didn't,
to do.
I just showed him the part behind the mills.
Yep. They did everything from Union Street down to the Millside Park. It's like 10-foot back the whole way on both sides.
Is there, what about, for this season, if there's areas that are overgrown, if they need to be addressed, they need to be addressed. But in the future, if we said, okay, going forward, here are hot spots that we know grow in every year. Can these be addressed in the off season? And also, hey, either the Bees Committee or others are, actively working on these sections, so please avoid them, like to basically establish like a maintenance plan.
Yeah, I think I'm more upset that there was no communication. It just happened.
Well, I have to say that, I just sent him the pictures right behind the mills. I didn't know they would do all of that, but,
Right.
but that's a hot spot that's always going to be there, right? Just like down at East Street. And, there's certain places that we know we have to hit it during the summer, or it's just going to overtake the trail. But but at the end of the season, yeah, they got to go do the whole thing again. And then it takes until July before it's really bad and they have to cut it back.
Yeah.
But I think the Bees Committee, you need to really communicate with the DPW, say, this is the area that we're working on.
So the problem is the person they were communicating with just got another job.
Oh.
They were communicating with us. They just moved to the state. So, literally the week before.
Okay. Oh. Anyway, well, I can reach out to him about the other area too, but
I don't know that it's not weed. I think it's just stuff.
okay.
Vines and
I'll send
stuff.
those pictures to him.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have a question about the sort of relationship with DPW. I haven't been on this committee for very long, but I have been on the Friends of Northampton Trails Committee, and we talk about the DPW relationship a lot too. It seems like there's a constant communications sort of issue between like the rail trail and the DPW. Is there ever an opportunity to bring people together and sort of annually or a couple times a year maybe and talk about here are the 3 hot button issues that we really want to work out, and we're face to face and we're kind of dealing with these things, or have you already done that 100 times already?
We sat down with the DPW and the mayor, talked budget wise, because they were supposed to take over the maintenance this year or last year.
This is a couple of years.
So we sat, Wendy and David and I and the mayor and Greg, we sat down, we were supposed to meet earlier and then it got delayed and then there was no money. So the whole thing comes down to manpower and money. And pretty much, I reach out to Greg when there's things that need to be done. And I feel bad sometimes asking because the trash can removal, I reached out and he said, yeah, we can do it, but probably not until the fall. Something as simple as moving a trash can. So when I see the brush, I'm like, we really need this done. And I send a picture and, they do it when they can, but it's money and it's manpower and they are stretched so thin that I feel like I'm imposing on them when there's something that needs to be dealt with. I don't mind asking, but after a while, I feel like he doesn't want to open an email from me. Wants, I totally understand the whole money and the manpower thing. You can only do what you can do with what you've got.
He's been to past meetings with us.
Yeah. No, he's he would,
It's not a
That's
thing
what
like
he
they don't
can.
want to help.
Right.
it's not like they don't want to
don't
help.
have the
It's just that they just don't have the resources. And the park department is even like more stretched because we really are a park. But we've had better luck with the public works department than with the park department. Yeah.
So I feel like this would be an area, if we had a better relationship with a city council, they could advocate on our behalf. But because we don't have a city councilor to come to talk to, then it's just, us versus a actual city department.
Well, the city council doesn't really have any like direct overseement to the Department of Public Works. They have a public safety committee that can, but they don't have any control over, except for the budget, like what the money can be used for, what the manpower, I mean, they, you can talk to the city council, but I don't really know how much really that would do.
From my experience working with other municipalities, is like one thing department heads hate is when like a city councilor is like badgering them about things. She's like, let me run my department. I have 200 employees that I'm trying to, deal with. I don't need like a politician coming in to.
Right. No, I see that too. Anyway.
It's
I
imperfect.
don't think it's right. There's no like bad relationships. It's just like
No, it's
money
not.
constraint.
It's not. I think that Greg, and they've been great, and usually they'll get around to it and they'll help out, but it's just.
Dealt with that down tree.
Yeah.
That's
huge.
If it's a safety.
If it's a safety thing, they'll get it right on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if it's something that they can do themselves and they have some time, they'll do it. And I mean, I appreciate that.
Well, if it comes down to we have to pay somebody to do some of these things and do some fundraising, then that's the other option.
We at one point did have somebody when they didn't have a brush cutting machine. We paid a company to do like from Fort Hill to East Street, and it was very expensive, very expensive. And it was basically the same kind of stuff. Yeah. As far as the trash can, David, we think that it probably is going to be done quicker if we do it ourselves. We look at the trash can and move
Is it that hard? Is it just a couple bolts? Can we do
I
it?
think
with
so.
that?
I think, it looks like you could probably, with some kind of wrench, loosen it and pull it out.
We're gonna put it in the shed.
Put it in the shed.
Oh, which reminds me, you need to mow around that shed. It's getting really overgrown and
Do we have a
looks
weed
pretty
whacker?
bad.
Just weed whack it.
No. We asked George, and even if we have to pay him an extra bit to mow that immediate area, it just looks pretty bad.
Williston, when they're mowing right.
It's going to be easier to have George do it. Or Tim.
I don't know when they're next mow.
Pretty soon,
Or a
probably.
weed whacker even.
I think a weed whacker would probably. You can do a lot with a weed whacker. We do have a weed whacker and we do have a mower. If you want to go in and do it.
I've never used that weed whacker.
Oh,
I
it's
use
very
it-
easy.
yeah. It's almost
Old
fun.
school. It is. Oh, the electric one. The very bench ones. All right. Okay. Southampton Trail update.
Yeah, so last time we talked about the sign that we want to put at the end. I'm not really sure how to contact this committee, so I just emailed a handful of people about the sign. So I went and printed this in the 8.5 by 11 that was suggested at the meeting, and it's much too small for this sign. So I'd suggest we do it 11 by 18. And I also cleaned up the sign. So like we had, I think you'd mentioned at one point that it was not super clear that it was the Southampton Greenway. And so instead of saying Southampton Greenway 4 times that, were not as clear as they could have been, we really narrowed it down to make Southampton Greenway
Nice.
as big as possible.
Yeah.
And we got rid of the logo because it just reads too small, unfortunately. So we just got the Southampton Greenway in the biggest letters that could fit on an 11 by 18. And we've got the website at the bottom and just less information. So,
Perfect.
I know,
That's
Good.
great.
Yeah.
Okay. good. Ready to roll.
And I just want to be clear, you're going to have that facing riders as they're exiting the trail at Coleman.
Yes, as they're approaching Coleman Road.
Correct. Okay.
So this is the stop sign coming up at Coleman Road.
I would suggest doing it the other way too, just so as people are entering the trail, they're coming from Coleman Road, they might also be interested.
So we are going to put a sign
The other
across the
side,
street
on the
as
other
well.
side.
Okay,
Yeah.
on the other side, okay.
I think it could be confusing if you come on the trail, it says coming soon, and you're facing this way, you're thinking there's going to be
Well-
3 more miles added where at the end, you know? I
Well,
think
you could add a behind you, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Or they go,
Turn around,
yeah,
and
or they
it's
go to the
3 more
website and
miles.
they figure it out. But Southampton is behind them.
Yes.
Okay, you're not gonna be able to with the signs reverse there because the holes are covered.
Yep. So this top one has a bolt, or I'm sorry, not the top one. The bottom one has a bolt that I can undo and attach our sign to it. And then I'll put another bolt down at the bottom. So it will be below where the opposite facing signs are.
Okay.
Do you,
Just whatever way I can
do you think we
best get
should
it
use
on here.
those?
Do you want the tamper proof?
Oh, if you have some, sure.
Do you want to set up a time with me and
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll come
He's
out there?
the sign expert.
Sign hanger.
He's the sign guy. Sounds good.
Uh,
I'm open to suggestions on how to fix it, but I feel like I can figure something out. So, yeah.
We've got those tamper proof, so nobody
Yeah.
will.
And then our next Southampton Greenway meeting, Friends of Southampton Greenway meeting is next Monday at 6:00. And then the Greenway Committee meeting is August 5th
Where do you hold?
at Southampton Town Hall. Open to all. We'd love to have more activity.
August 5 is
Sorry,
the Greenway Committee. Is
August 5th is the Greenway Committee. Yeah.
Have you gotten a response to your flurry of, posting?
We got some activity.
Okay.
We definitely got a good response from organizations in terms of sharing of stuff going on. One thing we're going to do this month, next week, which is different, is we're going to also Zoom our
Nice.
meeting. So hopefully we can get more people attending like that. So,
Okay. Friends website.
the Friends now owns the website.
Yay.
I mean, it all went honestly very smoothly. Many, many thanks to Trace for all of the work that he did like throughout the years. And then in this whole process, I mean, I think other than setting up the actual account with DreamHost and then approving an email from DreamHost, yes, I would like a stone.
Yeah.
There was one little hiccup with a couple of links that were broken during the transition, but those were quickly fixed. And so yeah, phase 1 of the whole website project is done.
Yeah, seamless. From our point of view.
Yes.
Are you guys able to go in and edit? I mean, is it basically the same as it was?
Basically the same.
Yes. So now, but I didn't even look at the donations page. Did we put in is it Effie?
Oh, I haven't done that yet.
No, we haven't done
I
it yet, but
done
now we
right.
can.
So now we can.
What's the
do-
email that did you set up a separate email?
No.
Or the?
Well, I think the old one,
Just use
the old
the
one still
regular
works.
one, it's still-
Yeah.
So,
Info@still works, yeah. It just forwards to that Gmail.
but it was probably good to wait until it was done.
Yes.
Yeah.
So to add a button on that, is it difficult? Do you know
It
how to?
shouldn't be now.
But I think like now that the ownership is done, I would like to look at, we talked about like redesign and simplification.
Content.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that's like phase 2 now.
That is phase 2, yes.
Now that the transfers happen.
Is there any donate button on there at all? Is
Not
there?
right.
I don't think so right
We
now.
did have
Take the other one off?
Or was there one?
PayPal was on it.
PayPal was on at some point. I don't know whether it.
Did we,
That page.
I feel like we decided to take it off because it was like charged.
Well, I think that we were gonna do people should do it either way.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
The more options, the better, I
Yeah.
think, would be the move.
I think you can do that, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just have
Yeah.
Zephy, PayPal,
Right.
any
Or
number
send
of
a
them.
check or,
Right.
whatever.
And I've got this card for this photographer too, when we get to that point. I didn't want to do that until we.
I feel like we should probably contact sooner rather than later because we want pictures when it's not
Nice weather.
when it's
And
not
he's,
winter.
right, he's located right in there.
He's right
He's
there.
Easthampton business, and I think it's great if we could support Easthampton businesses.
Did we ask
Bob?
Zemba?
if there was some, did we put on the Facebook, like asking for photos from people, that kind of thing? I think that would be a good
Didn't.
resource too.
You know, you have to kind of be careful what you ask for.
Sure.
You get flooded with, and then if you don't like them, you say, sorry, this thing, you know. So I don't know, I'd almost rather start with, but
I mean, I think it would be good, it would be a good engagement to say, hey, we're looking into redoing our website. We're looking for new photos. If you have a favorite photo of you or your family or
Yeah.
friends from the trail, send it to our email. And then, you know, I'm sure that you'll get some that you can just put in the trash.
Yeah.
But hopefully there'll be some good one. I don't know, just thinking like people might share that and say, oh my gosh, my,
I think it's a great idea.
Do a photo campaign or like a contest.
yeah, right.
We've
They
done
could
that.
get it,
we've
I don't
done,
know,
we did
We've
that.
done that.
stickers.
Get a bell.
The other thing is permission, then you have
Win a
to.
bell.
Permission.
You get a photo permission,
Yeah.
Like if somebody,
because somebody comes back and says,
Yeah,
oh, you
for sure.
owe me $1,000 for that picture.
maybe if you find one that you like, then you could reach out to the person.
Then
and
you
say,
gotta
"The one
have
Yeah,
that-"
them
say
fill
thank
out
you
the
so much.
form. Yep,
Please fill this out.
Yeah, yeah.
We'd
they
love
have to
to use
sign it
for-
off to us. Yeah.
And you could even put in the Facebook post, like photos that are shared, you know, are intended to be used.
Yes.
Probably,
You know,
yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Kind of like the pond committee, their photo contests.
Right.
They got some really nice ones. You never know.
Wendy, did you have I don't know if I got the login for, I'm forgetting the website builder now.
WordPress.
WordPress site? No, the WordPress site. I don't know if I ever, like,
It was a real loss. I thought I sent it out to everybody.
oh, did you? Maybe I'll look at my email, and if I can't find it, because I would like to, not to change anything immediately, but just to like look at like, okay, can we maybe draft some pages? Because I think that would be the easiest way to present to the
Yeah.
community.
Is it the same login though?
The login should have not changed. I don't
Shouldn't
think
have
so.
changed.
Yeah.
Mine didn't
Okay.
change.
But I think it'd be probably easiest to say, here's, you know, a redesign proposal page. What do
Yeah.
we think?
Okay.
Do we want to adjust things?
All right, so you want me to resend that to you?
I can, if you already sent it,
Yeah,
I can
It's,
look.
it might
Thanks for all of your work on working
Yeah.
with Trace.
Thanks for taking the phone call. Like, hi, do you have a credit card?
Yeah. Glad you were there. And
Oh, kind of amazing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, other friends item that I did not have a chance to ask you to put on the agenda, but I'm actually chatting with Felicia, Precinct 2 City Councilor later this week. She and her husband organize Porch Fest first weekend in October every year, and she is interested in having a bike valet at it. So she's looking at, it's in multiple neighborhoods. I think the easiest one and the one that has the most bands is New City, because we could set it up right at the Carson Street Park. But I'm chatting with her later this week.
Alexis, can you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm available. I'm actually trying to move my storage unit from Northampton to Easthampton, so it's easier for you to manage. But yeah, I don't have anything reserved during that time spot.
what was the date?
It's the first Saturday in October. Especially since there was no cultural chaos this year, it'd be great to have us do some event.
And that's a super fun thing to
Can
volunteer.
we talk about
Ride bikes, so fun. Everyone should come to it.
You find that a lot of the people just are from the neighborhood and just walk around
A
though?
lot of people last year were driving in and parking all along the streets. Because that's the other thing is New City, like, there's not awesome parking,
Right.
but it's really easily accessible off of the rail trail. So
You ride on Coleman Road?
I don't think it would probably be as utilized as the Cultural Chaos Bike
Oh,
Valet
okay.
was, but.
I think people would.
Well, I think
Yeah,
they
you'd
would
have to,
nice weather.
promote it ahead.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because otherwise people wouldn't have it.
They would have known.
I think
And where?
I think after our mayoral ride, Barb mentioned something about like ordering a tablecloth with our branding.
Yeah.
We could create like a little marketing, campaign or effort.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we still have bells.
We
Never gonna get rid of all
I
of
know.
them.
Yeah, we will.
Okay, so the next meeting is Monday, August 24th. And I'd say that's probably good for tonight. All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, second.
second.
Aye. Aye.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.